Hey everybody, I'm here today with Josh Green. He's a Democratic candidate for Lieutenant Governor, and we're gonna walk story. Thanks for joining us today, Josh.
Thank you, I love it.
Could you tell us a little bit about your background? What are your ties to Hawaii? What makes you want to be Lieutenant Governor?
Well, my background is as a physician. I think a lot of people know me as a local doctor. I came to Hawaii a long time ago with the National Health Corps, which was just the greatest opportunity of a lifetime for me. It was my first real job, and I got assigned with the National Health Corps to Ka'u on the Big Island. So my first adult job was to be the doctor for 8,000 people on Big Island, and ever since I just never looked back. So when people ask me about myself, that's kind of my core beginnings. But then I developed a family here. I met my wife Jamie, who's a Kaneohe girl and a lawyer, wonderful person, and we have kids. So I turned my life from being an East Coast guy like 20 some years ago, I guess, to being a Hawaii person. And I got into the legislature after being the doctor for many years, though I'm still a doc full time. I just got off a 2-day shift. But it's just been an honor, and that's kind of how I've approached things.
How has being a physician influenced your stances and your policy?
Well, being a physician actually informs almost everything I do. I ran for office the first time because I, as an ER doc, seen two tragedies. Two 1-year-olds, one died falling off of a second-story lanai. The young parents were on drugs and weren't taking good care of them. And then the second one got run over by a car when the grandpa was taking care of him again, because unfortunately the young parents again were on drugs. And as the ER doc, I saw the tragedy and I wanted to do more. We kept the second kid alive, and he's got a wonderful life since. But I ran for office not even thinking I would win, but I wanted to make a point that we needed more healthcare services. We needed to have more drug treatment for people. We needed our local families to be honored and have better opportunities for education and jobs. And I was making those points, and then kind of to my surprise, I won the election and became a legislator and a physician same time.
Right.
So everything I do, I see, from the ER. I saw families that couldn't afford their medicines, couldn't afford asthma medications for their kids, and I knew we had to make sure every kid was insured, so I passed that law. Took care of a woman who had been sexually assaulted, and I found out when I got back to the Capitol that survivors of sexual assault weren't guaranteed services at all of our hospitals. It amazed me. But then we passed a law to make sure no matter what, if you have been sexually assaulted, a woman will get those services at a hospital. I saw our families who have kids with autism, their kids weren't covered, which is a lot of children with autism now for lots of reasons. And so I made sure I took that experience and translated it into universal coverage for kids with autism. So a lot of what I do is health related. A lot of it's also environmental health policy, like here on Maui, for instance, when the cane burning was too strong and it was really affecting people's lungs, I knew I had to stand up and begin that fight as the only physician legislator in the state. So I try to make a point of using real experience, and that's what I'll do as lieutenant governor if I'm chosen. I'm now very passionate about solving our homeless crisis, because I take care of homeless individuals and I see them going through the revolving door of getting medics called for $1,000, going to the hospital and the ER for $1,500, then getting stuck in the hospital for a wound, and we don't pay any mind to the cost. It costs our taxpayers a ton, and the people don't get better. So I'm starting a homeless institute and getting people better, and for way less resource, so we can invest in other things like early pre-K education or drug treatment clinics or fixing our university system, anything really. So I try to take those experiences I have in the real world, in the trenches, which sets me apart, I think, from my opponents, and then in turn make them real policy. And I've enjoyed that. It's been an honor.
What do you see the role of the lieutenant governor as, and what do you plan to do to accomplish that vision?
Well, for me, I'm going to take total ownership of the homeless crisis and the opioid epidemic. That's going to be my focus as lieutenant governor, not just because I have experience, but because it touches all of our families. No one has family or friend anywhere in Hawaii that hasn't been affected one way or another by drugs or the costs of homelessness and the moral tragedy in our community. So that's how I'll approach being lieutenant governor. How others do it, it's up to them. And I know some people are dismissive of the office, but for me, moving on from the Senate was necessary because I thought I could really have an outsized impact not just locally, but nationally, on these huge problems that we face. I'll be the only physician in the country that's a lieutenant governor if I'm lucky enough to be chosen. And people have been really generous with me because I think that they want someone with capacity to actually take that job and grab it by the horns and make it something.
Well, all right, Josh, we reached the end of the street. That means it's time to say bye, but thank you for walking Story with us.
Yeah, thank you. I really loved it.
All right.
Appreciate it.
And remember to vote in the general election August 11th, or excuse me, primary election August 11th, general election November 6th.
Thanks.
Hello.